Hey everybody, Stu Smith going live. Checking in for another live Q&A session and CSS critique as well. I got some videos lined up here for you, but before we go into discussing combat swimmer stroke, let me just tell you a little story prior to today's workout. So today's workout, much better than yesterday's workout. Yesterday was hot and humid. Very hot, like in the mid 80s before 7 a.m. Here in Maryland, that's pretty hot. But the humidity was off the charts. You immediately started sweating. So the loss of water is real. Um, Something that I have been looking for is that perfect way to replenish some of the sweat that is lost. The sodium, magnesium, potassium, all of those EMs that you need to make your muscles work and otherwise your brain work. And I have personally uh, recommend this Drip Drop ORS dehydration relief fast. These little things, little packets, fit perfectly right into a water bottle, and highly recommend it. In fact, I'm drinking one right now with my water because today, even though it was cooler, it was still just as humid. And that can fool you because you start off running, you're like, oh, this is nice. And then about a mile in, you realize this humidity's kicking in and you're already drenched. Um, but yeah, by the time I came back from hill day, which is 2.5 just to get to the hill, we run the hill a couple times and then we run back, mix in some squats and lunges. By the time I came back, I could hear my feet squishing in my shoes. So the sweat from my upper body and legs just went right down to my shoes, and I was squishing. By the time we jumped in the pool, my feet were already pruned. Um, that workout was about an hour, probably an hour and 10 before we went swimming. And yeah, it was pretty darn bad. And I will tell you this, if you think that electrolytes don't really matter, here's where you see it. You will see it, after a hard workout, you've, had some water to replace, which is smart. You got to do that. And then you say you had some carbs and some protein. No, you've had your full meal, after workout, and you're still feeling like crap. Usually that is because you need electrolytes. So something I do if I don't have these available to me. Now, I wish I had one just for demonstration, but it's just a regular can of chicken noodle soup. So I treat dehydration the same way I treat the flu. Because what happens when you have the flu? Well, your things are coming out of you at both ends and you're getting dehydrated. You're losing a ton of electrolytes in your belly. You're also messing up your gut biome as well. So there's a whole lot of things going on when you have the flu, but what makes you feel better? That can of chicken noodle soup that your mom makes for you. So I keep chicken noodle soup in my car, in the cup holders, um, whenever we are doing these kind of workouts because they come in handy when people start cramping. And where we see cramping usually is after the long run. Say we probably get anywhere between 5 and 7.5 miles of this hill day, depending on how many hill sprints you do. And then we go swimming with a pair of scuba fins. And by the end of my swim, probably the last 100 yards, I started cramping in my hamstring. And so I went straight for the electrolytes and 100% good to go. So my brain's working. I'm ready to take some questions if you got them. We'll also share some combat summer stroke videos, and we'll just take it like that. You guys send the questions. 9 times out of 10, I start my question with, it depends. Because it does. A lot of these questions really depend on so many factors, such as your current condition, your goals, where do you want to be in the future? What's your timeline? Um, what's your performance line? Like, where do you want to be, when you get into these training programs? What's your athletic history? What kind of workouts are you on now? All of those questions need to be answered before I get a really good answer for you, because there's not one size that fits all. Um, Joe Marabella says, yes, there are electrolytes in Gatorade. However, drip drop is actually used by doctors for treating dysentery and malaria in Africa. So think about that. It is like a pharmaceutical grade oral rehydration system. It's just electrolytes, but there's just more. Like with Gatorade, there's either fake sugar in it or there's too much sugar in it. Now, if you need sugar because you're bonking and you got no blood sugar or glycogen in your body, um, sometimes that Gatorade is the better answer. But it also depends on if did you eat anything prior to a workout. If you did not, sipping on Gatorade might be the better answer in that one, because this one does not have a lot of sugar in it. This is mainly sodium, magnesium, and potassium are the main ingredients here. Some vitamin C too. Just a little bit of sugar though, like 3 grams of sugar. No, 9 grams of sugar. Or carbohydrates, 7 grams of sugar, compared to probably 30 or 40 grams of sugar in a Gatorade. So if you need the sugar, fine. If you don't need the sugar, go with something a little lighter and a little more geared towards actually rehydrating you versus sugaring you up. All right, let's see. In a video the other day, I heard someone say some of the pool evolutions you do in second phase make pool comp look like a joke, or something along those lines. Can you give examples? Pool comp is OC8. That is a second phase pool evolution. I personally disagree with that. I think all the pool evolutions in second phase um, were not that challenging until pool comp. Pool comp was definitely more challenging than ditch and dawn, night ditch and dawn. The tread sucked. I would put the tread up there because that was a crap evolution. Treading with 12, 13-pound weight belt, twin 80s, hands out of the water with a big pair of scuba fins on. If you had any cramping going on, you're done. So yeah, there's a few things in there that are tough, but most of it are kind of elementary scuba diving events. Some of the basics, buddy breathing. Then when you get to the dragger, it gets a lot more fun, a lot more intense, but nothing hard. I think the OC8 was the one that's pretty darn hard. And here's why I tell you that is because most people are getting rolled for OC8 versus all the other events. Yes, there may be an event like treading that people get rolled for, but most people get rolled for OC8, which is pool comp. Examples of what they might be talking about, or is there anything that speaks to these evolutions in order? Yeah, I'm not sure. If you give me some specifics, I can say yes or no, that was hard. Regardless, it requires some study of the procedures, practicing. I personally had been scuba diving for 10 years prior to going to Buds. I think I started scuba diving at 12, 13. So by the time I was in third phase, I knew what it, second phase, I knew what it felt like to scuba dive, and breathe underwater. So Joe asks, what do you make of the rumors circulating buds these days? People aren't being allowed to class up, people being forcibly dropped, enlisted being run out of their boats nonstop. Well, I don't think any of those are rumors. I mean, I think officers and enlisted alike are being run out of the boat. I mean, that's um, kind of sucks. I don't think that's a good way to build a team. Personally, it has changed significantly with that aspect because when we were going through buds, we did not fear our own classmates. There was not this you should quit type mentality brought up by the strong people to the weaker people. um it was us versus the instructors versus what could be perceived as um students are getting involved in the decision making process of who stays or goes, which is BS. Never liked that. Never liked it when people were complaining. Instead of complaining, why don't you help the guy out that needs help, and then have a little discussion with them at the end of the day of like, hey man, you crushed us, because we had to help you with the log or help you with the boat. You don't do it, and just it's just bad. It's toxic. It's horrible leadership. um I don't recommend it. But that's sometimes it can be that way. From what I'm hearing, they are trying to change that. They've actually done a pretty extensive research and study on some of the recent classes that had over 90% attrition rate before Hell Week was over. Um, and they're actually using the term fratricide, which is, murder of your brother. Not that that's a little dramatic, but it is kind of like classmates against classmates. Um, and I don't know why that occurred. I don't know if it's a generational thing. I don't know if it is brought on by the instructors to have the students do their job. I don't know. And I don't like it. And I think it's not a good way to start your relationship with fellow teammates. So being forcibly dropped and not allowed to class up, I don't know about that. Maybe they're not meeting standards or their quotas are full. I don't know. But yeah. And Joe continues, and regarding to other guys' question on OC8, what can guys do to prep for pool comp as civilians? Is diving recreationally a high level way to prep? You know what? I would not try to prep for that type of event. I never did. I don't think anybody ever did. It's one of those things you learn, and it's part of the tactical learning process. You're going to be taught certain procedures, and you have to follow those procedures one step at a time, and that's how you practice it. Now, you can practice it at buds, but I don't recommend anything other than recreational scuba diving as a way to just get comfortable underwater breathing, doing tasks and things like that. But I would not practice that as civilians, because there's likely not medical personnel up on the pool deck to save you if you black out or inhale water or whatever. So it's not worth it. Let's see. Train MMA while still conditioning myself for the PST. I frequently get bumps and dings on my shins. I want to continue running. It doesn't hurt to. How long? How do I know when legs need downtime? Well, I will tell you this. there comes a time when you need to start taking your next step seriously. And that means whether you're doing MMA, you're doing triathlons, you're doing adventure races, whatever it is, ultra runs, whatever it is, you got to take it seriously. And anything that you are doing outside of conditioning for whatever test you have to take or whatever selection program you have to take, it's not helping you. Yeah, it's fun. I used to power lift. That was a lot of fun. I didn't power lift for 18 months before I went to Buds. Um, because it wasn't helping me. So at some point you need to take yourself seriously. I would personally if you're 6 months out from, leaving to try to join the military, I would stop contact sports. I would stop riding a bike like you're doing road biking on as a triathlete. Those guys get killed every year. Um, then we have let's see who else. MMA guys, jujitsu guys. You know, just getting dinged up and joints hurting, and if you're kicking, your shins are going to take a beating. I personally, depending on your timeline, I would not go roll for 6 months prior to doing it, and then focusing on your Navy career. And then after all of that, you can start back doing MMA once you're in the team again, and that'd be fun. Be a fun change of focus. But the less the more that you do that's outside of your future plans, uh, the less you're going to be prepared for your future endeavors. There's no MMA test at Buds. I'm also thinking about asking my coach about the leg conditioning today. I don't know what that means, but yes, you need to work your legs on leg days. I personally run hills, I ruck, and I swim with fins. And I get all my guys to do the same thing because they're going to be, running and rucking in soft sand, running up dunes. Um, it's definitely a conditioning leg workout versus any type of heavy weight stuff. Not that I'm saying you're going to do that, but yeah, you got to work legs. Don't skip leg day. Cooper law enforcement test didn't come out until the early 70s. What were police doing before that? I have no idea, Joe. Um, Probably something made up at each individual um, department. They are not very consistent across the board. Cooper Institute tried to do that, and I would say probably about 50% are using a Cooper's law enforcement fitness test type program. The others are probably doing a little bit more of the military style fitness test type program, but there is no overall consistency from state to state, from county to county. Maybe within the state, there's a program that keeps all the counties the same or cities the same, but each government's a little bit different. So there's really no consistency there. In fact, most police officers, once they're out of the academy, they don't have a fitness test anymore that they ever have to take. The unions are too strong to allow it, because they don't want anybody fired because they fail a fitness test. So there you go. A lot of politics involved in this fitness world sometimes. How do you maintain focus and attention to details day in and day out? Is there a memory or mental training regarding observation skills? Good one. Um, Something I like to do, I like to play a game no matter where I go. Like if I'm walking into a new building, I look for exits and then I look for um, potential threats, right? So that is a habit that I've created over time, whether I'm in a restaurant, I'm in a grocery store. Um, yeah, I went into a grocery store today and I saw three men in the grocery store, right? Is there something that I observed that, you know, potential threat? It can be as simple as that. Another one I like to do is attention to detail of like how many exits are in this building. Um, and then you can get really play a game with your buddies with it too. And you can ask questions like how many chairs did you see in that waiting room? How many, what was the painting on the wall next to the doctor's door? Just to see if you notice these little things. And those are fun little games. Another game is called Keep in Memory, like a Kim's game, Keep in Memory game, where you would like have a towel and you put like 12 random things on it. And then you tell your buddy to come over, take a look at it. And he takes a look at it for 30 seconds. And then you go do a workout and you come back and you give him a test on it. So what'd you see? And see if he can remember what he saw after the workout, how many things he can remember, and give it a grade like that. And then he can do the same thing to you. So that's what we like to do. Those are kind of fun. You may even see those in other future selection programs too. The Kim's game is very common um, little skill that can be developed if you just practice. But really, I think a very useful one is exits and threats, no matter where you are. So, potential threats. All right. So, anyway, prevent stress fractures apart from conditioning and stretching. Yeah. I mean, don't run too much. You should have a logical progression anytime you start running. For instance, if you haven't been running ever or 6 months to a year, you don't start off that first week of running with a 20-mile week of running, or, you go for a 5-mile timed run. You don't do that. Um, that is the way to avoid stress fractures and shin splints and uh, knee tendonitis, foot problems, you name it, by just watching your progression. So, a good rule of thumb is 10 to 15% increase every week. So, if you're at zero, obviously you have to run some. So, what a lot of people do is they just run 1 mile a day, 5 days a week for that first week. Um, And then the second week, they'll add 10 to 15% to that. So you can do it with time if you don't feel like doing the distance math. So, say you run for 10 minutes every day, 5 days a week, and then you add 10% to that. So you just add a minute. So you run 11 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Or if you're a real beginner and you haven't done any running at all, you might want to run every other day with some non-impact days in between. So maybe run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, do some non-impact Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday to help you build some aerobic conditioning that can help you lose weight, burn some calories, but at the same time also help start to prepare you for running without all the impact of running. So that's how you avoid stress fractures. So I hope that makes sense. All right, so hey, we already been going 24 minutes in this, and I haven't showed you guys a CSS video yet. So let's do that. So let's see who we have here. You guys can see this. All right, so we got a kick off the wall. Good double arm pull. Good glide kick. All right, so he's got a powerful kick. Good hard arm pull. So pull, breathe, kick, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. So This powerful kick and arm pull, he could glide another second, second and a half, maybe even 2 seconds easily. So he's just overworking. So I think he needs to hold the glide for another second. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. See, he's pulling on like 1 Mississippi. He's got a nice strong kick. If he just held the glide right here for 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull on 3, I guarantee you he'd still be moving at a yard per second um, without having to do all those extra pulls and kicks. So, I mean, that's right there is like 47, 48 seconds. I mean, that's really good. Probably 45 because he starts off, he doesn't start till like 3 seconds in. Yeah, man, that's good. Let's count how many breaths he does. So he does, so 1 breath, 2 breath, 3 breaths, 4 breaths, 5 breaths. Yeah, he's actually, see, his kick is really good if that's all he's doing. 1 stroke, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this makes more sense. 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So 7 isn't horrible. It's not inefficient. It just could be a little more efficient. If he held that glide for another second, he'd probably take off a stroke or two, and be a lot less tired at the end of a 500. So that's a good one. You guys send a question if you got them. I'm just going to go into the next CSS critique here. See what we got here. The one thing I did notice on that guy's glide position is he's a little elbow bent like this. So you want to be a little tighter on your glide positions, whether it's off the wall or it's in between each kick and glide. Do they do log PT at Recon? Yes. If so, how long? I have no idea, but I know they do log PT. Seen it. All right, kick off the wall, double arm pull. Okay, 2 double arm pulls. Don't need to do that. Just do 1. You went too deep. So coming up from down here, like 4 feet down, probably is because see how your head's down? That acts like a dive plane. So you're just swimming down, and then you got to swim back up. So you actually add distance to your 50 by swimming down and then up. Just ride straight through. Be the hypotenuse. All right, so top arm, bottom arm, kick, hold the glide. Yeah, he could probably remember how the guy had really powerful kick and arm pulls? He could put a little more power into his kick and arm pulls. They're just kind of pulling nice and easy. Nothing wrong with this. I mean, he's doing it in probably 50, 54 seconds, probably, which isn't horrible. Probably can get in shape to get under 9 minutes. Oh, you can't see it. Oh, okay. I screwed something up. I forgot to share it. That's what I did. Thanks for telling me that, Tom. All right. So went through all of that to show you guys this. See how he dives down and then his head's down like that. So he's about 3, 4 feet deep. And then he does another arm pull. And he's got to come up almost like lost all his horizontal momentum because he had to go vertical, right? Just to come up to breathe. Thanks, Tom, for the reminder there. I'm sitting here watching the video, but you guys weren't. Top arm, bottom. See how, like I said, he's just needs to add more power to the arm pull. Kick looks pretty good. Just needs to add more power to the arm pull like the other guy. But this guy's got a better glide position every stroke. Let's see how long he glides. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. Yeah, that's pretty good. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Shorten it up a little bit. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Pull. Good. Not bad. Yeah, overall, this is pretty good. It's a little slow though. It's like 54. So he could probably do a little better with a harder arm pull, a little harder kick, and stay tighter on that glide. He did add some time by going down and then coming up and then losing all of that wall momentum going into the stroke. So he went from like as fast as you can be kicking off the wall to stopping and re-engaging momentum of the next stroke versus kicking off the wall and using that momentum to go into your stroke. So that's where people lose a lot of time on that one. Whew, let's see. Let's just try another one. This time I'll get it right. Try to see if I can oh, already did this one. Get this guy. All right. So here we go. See how this looks. So good kick off the wall. See that streamline right there? Like biceps on his head, arms are straight. That's a good streamline kickoff. So let's see how this looks. Decent arm pull. Not great, but he didn't lose any momentum into the stroke there. Let's see what he's got. He's got top arm, bottom arm. He could use that bottom arm a little faster. So turn, get that face out of the water, kick and glide. Yeah, inhale with that bottom arm. There you go. Good turnaround. So this isn't bad. This is about a yard per second. Probably get just under 50 with this. 2 Mississippi pull. Oh, let's see. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi pull. Yeah, he could probably hold the glide a little less and he'd probably be a little faster. But even then, that's a 48-second 50. So that's pretty good. Yeah, 48, 47, 48-second 50, which you do the math, that's sub 8. So I'd like to see him, hit it like an 8-minute swim in his next 500 because he is capable of doing that. Whether or not his lungs are capable of doing that, that's the next step. But what we do with that is we do a little workout drill called the 50-50. I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about that over the years. If you have not, the 50-50 is a 50-meter freestyle hard, followed by a 50-meter CSS at goal pace, and you just keep doing that. You can rest if you need to. Try to minimize your rest, though. Let that CSS kind of be your rest. And from there, you got yourself a really good workout that gets you winded, but then you catch your breath with the CSS. So that's just one set. You do that 10 times. That's 1,000 yards. And you can either warm up with a 500-yard swim or cool down with a 500-yard swim or 10-minute tread. In fact, why don't I do this? I'll even show this to you and you guys can see what I'm talking about. That's the I have an Air Force version and I have a Navy version. If you guys want to see the Air Force version, let me know. But this is the Navy version that I like to use. So check this out. Oh, can't really see that, can you? Let me see if I can make it bigger. There you go. So 50-50 swim workout. Simple as this. Warm up with a 500-meter or yard CSS or freeze, up to you. Or you can cool down with it and warm up with a 10-minute tread. Notice down at the bottom, it's a 10-minute tread. So it's just 50 free, 50 CSS, minimal rest, boom, 10 times. That's a 1,500-meter swim workout plus a 10-minute tread, and I promise you that will get you in shape for any 500-yard swim test that you have to take. That's a good one. So, what drills do you recommend if recovery stroke eliminates all of my momentum for the from the wall? Um, Good question. If you are losing your momentum, it's probably due to you recovering not very streamlined. So your arms may be out here when you recover versus in here when you recover. You could be over gliding after you do that double arm pull and you just continue till you stop, and therefore you got to now recreate all that momentum. Um, for most people, it's a timing issue, not really a technique issue. However, if you're really loose with your recovery from your arms going from your hips to over your head, if you're loose with that, that can be like swimming with the brakes on as well. The drills we do is we just kick off the wall. No matter what type of swim we're doing, like let's say you're doing that 50-50. Every time you kick off the wall, whether you're doing freestyle or CSS, you're going to do that breaststroke pullout transition, and you'll either come up and do a freestyle or you'll come up and do a CSS. Just make use of every wall kickoff, especially when you're getting ready to take a 500-yard or 500-meter swim test, because the walls can help you. If you have a bigger pool, which you will probably eventually be taking this test in a 50-meter pool, you're going to have a lot fewer walls to turn around on. So typically, you're probably about 20 or 30 seconds slower if you're in a 50-meter pool versus a 25-meter pool. So you need to take that in consideration. Make sure your swim time is fast enough to be well below the standard that allows you into these training programs. You got to be really fast. That's why I always just keep, no matter what you're swimming, I always try to keep the pace of a yard per second, yard or meter per second. So 500 yards or 500 meters, that's 500 seconds, which is, you do the math, that's an 8-minute and 20-second swim, which, whether you're swimming in a 25-meter or a 50-meter, is well below the minimum standard that you need, and you could definitely crush that. There's no reason why you can't easily glide an 820. I did an 820 the other day for our PST because I just wanted to do a 50-second 50 swim. Nice, easy pace. Was able to still get normal PST tests scores as well. Except for the run. The run crushed me yesterday. I was doing really well on the first mile. I was at like 7-minute mile, which I'm happy with, at 53 and 205 pounds. The third half mile broke my heart. I'm not sure what happened, but I wound up getting like 4 minutes on that last half mile. So I was right at like 10:40, 10:55, 11 minutes. So I was a little pissed. I wanted to at least get 10:30 or faster. Trying to break 10 this summer. But hot and humidity crushed me yesterday. All right, Tom, let's talk about old man questions. Started your baby boomer. Yeah, the baby boomer workout. That's a good one. It's actually somebody, uh, you know, recommended me calling it that, where it's really a post, like, veteran level workout. But when I wrote it, all the vets were baby boomers. So at that age, so it's like 68 plus. Um, how do you rate it compared to my 40 plus series? Seems a bit easier, but it's a good way to get back into daily calisthenics. Yes, it is easier. It's really, all of those are about building habits. Um, and it's really nice to be able to build a habit and not feel like crap doing it. So, going into some easy workouts as you build this time commitment habit is a great way to continue or start training again. One, without overdoing it too quickly, but also, um, making it available to you, whether or not you want to do it or not. So it's this, it turns into, yeah, you're motivated to start it, but then you're not going to be motivated every day, so you have to rely on these daily habits that you've created to at least get your foot in the door, and then you just kind of push through it. It's like this resistance that's coming at you that you got to push through. But that's when you get even tougher. That's how you build the mental toughness, when you are um, tired of, sorry, just had a little distracting post there from somebody I had to block. um, but anyway, that's how you build that mental toughness, by making getting through that workout even when you don't feel like it. So that's really the gist of those workouts. It's about building habits. Then you can take it to a next level and do that 40 plus series, or you can go into this one. This one has a nice little beginner program as well, that has goes from a beginner plan to an intermediate plan and to an advanced plan. That is really, the advanced plan is really good. In fact, many people have used this advanced uh, 12-week. I think there's an advanced. I think it's a total of, yeah, the advanced is 12 weeks. Intermediate is, yeah, intermediate's like 6 weeks. So then there's another advanced 6 weeks. Um, and what that will do is it'll help you crush, you know, PSTs. And I've had a lot of guys who kind of started off as a beginner, go through this, kind of work their way up the calisthenics and cardio options, running, biking, swimming, with calisthenics. And then they applied that to focusing on a PST. And by the end of that 12 weeks, they actually saw some really good PST results, that they were able to go into like one of the Navy SEAL workout books immediately after this one. So it was a really good one. So, all right. So, yeah, we fixed that video problem. You're just behind us a little bit. Do you still have the old workout when the cover of the book were the American flag? Um, no, they've been all updated since then. So I try to update these programs, whether they're by ebook or by book, every couple of years, just because things change. I get better ideas of training. Standards change within the military programs. So that's what I would do. Yeah, I had decent scores. I did 80 push, 80 sit ups, and I had some time left over. I just stopped at 80 because I knew the run, it was starting to get like 85, 86 degrees. And I was like, I'm just going to save a little bit for the run. So I did 80, 80, 21 pull ups. And then I did 11-minute mile and a half, which I was, like I said, I was a little bit pissed, but this is my first PST in a while. Um, Felt really good. The first mile is at, like I said, at the 7-minute mile marker. I was right on pace to do a 10:30 or maybe a little faster if I could have pumped it up, but instead of going any faster, I actually went slower. So it was turned into a gut check. Finished it, but it just wasn't pretty. Currently 20. I've had 6 surgeries on my knee. Whew. I'm strong and healthy. With your history and knowledge of PT, any tips on adapt with low cartilage and knee for buds? I don't know, to be honest with you. 6 knee surgeries is going to be a waiver that is going to be challenging, to be honestly. Um, I don't know, to be honest with you. Once you're going bone on bone or less cartilage, I don't know how to get around that, to be honest with you. Um, There may be ways, there may be other surgeries, there may be supplements. I don't know. I don't know what can help you. Um, but my advice is crush the PST. Make sure you can, as long as that doesn't hurt you. Um, and then go to a recruiter and see what the process is going to be for um, getting in, because that waiver process is legit. Every surgery needs a waiver. So if you have a surgery, even if it's a tonsillitis, or like I broke my leg, I didn't need surgery on that, but I had to get a waiver for a broken leg. I was 12 years old and skateboarding. So, um, so yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry. I would talk to a physical therapist. Maybe they can help you. What's my favorite unhealthy food? Good question. I tend to like chips and salsa. I would say chips and salsa about as unhealthy as I get. And sometimes I'll do Doritos with salsa, but I love salsa. I put salsa on just about everything, hot salsa too. Um, so I guess it depends on the kind of chips I'm using to eat that salsa as to how healthy or unhealthy I'm getting. But I just bought a brand new thing of salsa and I plan on eating some right after the show because I am hungry and I need some salt because I can feel it. Even with, one of these, I probably need a little more salt, you know, um, in my diet. I'm out of water, so I got to go refill that. So some good ways to get salt is like if you look on the back of a potato chip bag, it's pretty loaded with sodium and potassium. Like in a crunch, um, if you need salt, you can get it from crackers, chips like that. But best way to do it is actually drink your water, add something, something like this, or put salt on your food when you're eating your food. What are my thoughts on glucosamine? I don't know if it works or not. I mean, like talking about knee glucosamine chondroitin, you might be able to use some of that stuff. I don't know what that does to um, uh, cartilage. Some people say it helps you rebuild cartilage. I don't think that's even possible. I haven't read any medical studies that says yes, this man rebuilt his knee cartilage by taking this supplement. I haven't heard that. Now, are the supplements saying you can? Probably. They're flat out lying. Um, until I read it on a medical study that someone actually rebuilt cartilage, I'm not saying that you can rebuild cartilage, but you may be able to. I've just missed it. I don't know. You know, Google it. See if you can. Oh, let's see here. I think that's all the videos I had. I don't have any more swim videos. I only brought up 3. Um, I got another workout I got to go do. Yeah, good. You got some more questions? Can you use small therapy devices like EMS stimulation during buds? I'm not sure about electrostim. You might be able to. I don't see why you wouldn't. It's not necessarily it's not a supplement. There was one thing you can't do at buds is supplements. Period. I actually had somebody like asking me on one of these DMs or maybe his YouTube comments is that he's big into testosterone and HGH and can he go to buds and use them? I was like, apparently there have been some people who have used that and got busted recently. Um, not sure. So I wouldn't do that. So you can't have any supplements. Can you have devices? Pretty sure you can. I know you can have like those, vibrating tools for self massage. You can have foam rollers. You have, lacrosse balls. Anything for myofascial release type exercises. A lot of people get the Ryobi car buffer, where it's literally an orbital car buffer for like $25 from Home Depot, and it vibrates at a nice therapeutic frequency, versus paying a couple $100 for those vibrating foam rollers or the vibrating like hyper ice devices. I have both. I think they're great, but I also have a Ryobi car buffer that works very well too. So, yes, I would say you probably can, but not 100% sure. All right. So I got 50 minutes into this thing. I think I'm going to wrap this up. Um, Unfortunately, I need to go. I have some another workout I got to do in my carport. Remember, Cows and Cardio is a great place to build up. Spring training is what we're doing now. 3 weeks of calisthenics and cardio, 1 week of strength training, just a block periodization model. Don't have to do it that way, but it's a good way to pull back a little bit on your running progression, do a little strength maintenance, and then get back into a 3 week cycle of cows and cardio again. Three week on, 3 week off. Yeah, apparently multivitamins are supplements, so you can't do that. This is my multivitamin, by the way. Not sure how good it is, but it's got stuff in it that I like. Omega 3, B12, D3, lycopene, CoQ10. It's got good stuff. So, all right, guys, I got to go. If you guys are looking for more CSS critiques, go over to my TikTok page, StuSmith50, right there. Over 100 videos there where I just do voiceover critiques. Very helpful for people to pick up the stroke. Send me a video if you want me to critique it. Happy to assist. If I missed any of your questions, just send them to me, either to my email address, stu@StuSmith, or you can DM me, on Facebook or Instagram, YouTube. Happy to answer your questions. If it's a little more personal, you can share it that way versus an open forum like this. All right, folks. If you head over to Stu Smith Fitness today, you can save 20%. Compete 20 coupon code saves you 20% right here at the bottom. Check it out. StuSmithFitness.com. All right, folks. We'll see you later. Have a good one.